Welcome to PromagEnviro.com, the model code creation for the A&F V10 Series piston pumps. These are the output charts. Note the required piston size and stroke rate. The piston sizes shown here are 1/4 inch, 3/8 inch, 1/2 inch, and 5/8 inch. Larger sizes are on the next slide. The piston sizes shown here are 1 inch, 1.5 inch, and 2 inch. The smaller piston sizes are shown on the previous slide. The model code begins with V10. The first selection is model. The number 1 represents simplex, single drive to 1 pump head. The number 2 represents duplex, single drive to 2 pump heads. The number 3 represents triplex, single drive to 3 pump heads. And the number 4 represents quad, single drive to 4 pump heads. The next selection is piston size. The number 2 represents 1/4 inch diameter. The number 3 represents 3/8 inch diameter. The number 4 represents 1/2 inch diameter. The number 5 represents 5/8 inch diameter. The number 7 represents 1.5 inch diameter. The number 8 represents 1 inch diameter. And the number 9 represents 2 inch diameter. The next selection is stroke rate. The number 60 represents 60 strokes per minute. The number 30 represents 30 strokes per minute. The number 18 represents 18 strokes per minute. The number 12 represents 12 strokes per minute. The number 06 represents 6 strokes per minute. And the number 01 represents 1 stroke per minute. The next selection is drive. This is slide number 1 of 2. The model code 00 represents no drive and no base plate. 0CD represents no motor, coupling drive configuration, coupling drive. 0FM represents no motor, flange mount configuration, flange mount. The number 3 represents 1/2 horsepower, 120, 240 volt, explosion-proof fan-cooled, coupling drive. The number 4 represents 1/2 horsepower, 90 volt DC, totally enclosed, fan-cooled, coupling drive. The number 6 represents 1/2 horsepower, 240, 480 volt, explosion-proof, fan-cooled, coupling drive. The number 7 represents 1/2 horsepower, 240, 480 volt, totally enclosed, fan-cooled, coupling drive. The number 8 represents 1/2 horsepower, 120, 240 volt, totally enclosed, fan-cooled, coupling drive. The number 12 represents 1/3 horsepower, 120, 240 volt, totally enclosed, fan-cooled, flange mount. 12V represents 1/2 horsepower, 120, 240 volt, totally enclosed, fan-cooled, flange mount. And the number 13 represents 1/3 horsepower, 120, 240 volt, explosion-proof, fan-cooled, flange mount. This is the slide number 2 of 2 for the drive model code. The number 14 represents quarter horsepower, 40 volt DC, totally enclosed, non-ventilated flange mount. 14V represents half horsepower, 90 volt DC, totally enclosed, fan cooled flange mount. The number 15 represents quarter horsepower, 240, 480 volt, totally enclosed, non-ventilated flange mount. 15V represents half horsepower, 240, 480 volt, totally enclosed, fan cooled flange mount. The number 16 represents half horsepower, 240, 480 volt, explosion proof, fan cooled flange mount. The number 17 represents third horsepower, 575 volt, totally enclosed, fan cooled flange mount. The number 18 represents third horsepower, 115, 230 volt, 50 or 60 hertz, totally enclosed, fan cooled flange mount. The number 19 represents half horsepower, 240, 480 volt, totally enclosed, non-ventilated, inverter duty flange mount. And the number 20 represents half horsepower, 115, 230 volt, totally enclosed, non-ventilated, severe duty flange mount. The last selection is wet end. If left blank, that represents carbon steel. The letters SS represents 303 stainless steel. S6 represents 3/16 stainless steel. C20 represents alloy 20 stainless steel. And HC represents alloy 276 stainless steel. Free shipping is available at PromagEnviro.com.